It's a lovely manor house in Washington Old Village up in the northeast, and it's that connection. It's been there since the 12th century. The family moved to Washington in the 12th century, and they changed their name from Hartburn to Washington when they made that move.
It's America's birthday, 250 years since independence from the UK. There are plenty of events to mark the anniversary taking place in this country too. At the American Museum and Gardens in Bath, they're displaying a very rare copy of the Declaration of Independence. Lucy Littlewood is the museum director and joins us now. Lucy, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
How do you have a copy of it? There aren't many of them.
There really aren't. We've got a copy, what's called a Dunlap edition, and these were produced and printed actually on the night of the 4th of July in 1776. I think about 200 were made at the time, and they were distributed out to the colonies in a form of almost like a press release, really, to sort of let people know what had happened. Only 26 remain. Our copy is particularly special. The letter that accompanied it back to the UK said it fell into the hands of two British soldiers. So I love the idea. I wonder how it just fell into their hands. And it obviously took 6 to 10 weeks to sort of travel its way back to the UK, which in and itself is kind of fascinating. Now we have our news instantly thanks to radio and social media. But of course, this had to travel by boat. And our copy is annotated, which gives us a glimpse as to how these documents were recorded by the government officers. And it sort of rather unemotionally just writes on it the Declaration of Independence 1776, then lists the letters that came with it. So yes, it's incredibly rare. It's the only annotated one like this. Very few left in the world, and we're really privileged to have it on display for the summer. I
love the idea of it being like a press release, because that was what it was. How difficult is it to look after a document like that?
Oh, really difficult. It's been a very long time in the planning. We're delighted that the National Archives agreed to lend it to us, and we had additional support from the Art Fund as well. But it has been really challenging, particularly in a Grade 1 listed building. Lots of negotiations, lots of adaptations, and of course the heat has been really challenging.
Oh, yes.
Because very fragile documents and intense heat are not good friends. So that's been an additional challenge, but it is on show, and we're delighted that it is, and that people of Somerset and wider can come and see it.
Excellent. Lucy, thank you. Lucy Littlewood is the museum director that is at the American Museum and Gardens in Bath. We can speak also very briefly to the general manager of Washington Old Hall, which is the ancestral home of George Washington, the first president's ties to Britain. The general manager overseeing it for the National Trust is Eric Wilton. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Rosie.
So tell us about George Washington's ancestral home and how it stands today.
Well, it's a lovely manor house in Washington Old Village up in the northeast, and it's that connection. It's been there since the 12th century. The family moved to Washington in the 12th century, and they changed their name from Hartburn to Washington when they made that move. And the house was built in the 13th century. And then we have thanks to the Preservation Society in the 1930s, we have that house now, a Grade 1 listed manor house with lovely gardens and nuttery.
So will you be marking today? Will you be celebrating?
Yeah, most definitely. We have a celebration every 4th of July, which involves the children from the local schools. And this year, their theme will be freedom and independence, and they'll be doing pieces for the visitors in relation to those themes, and afterwards we will be exhibiting what they produce. They're creating flags. They're going to be writing their own declarations of independence, and then we'll be later through the summer, people can come and see that exhibition and see what the children produced.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time as well. It's been a pleasure. Eric Wilton, General Manager at the National Trust, overseeing Derwent, Weir and Coast, looking after Washington Old Hall Manor House, associated with the family of George Washington, of course, the very first president of the USA.
And we're expecting to hear more from President Trump through the course of the day as well today. Of course, stay with Times Radio for the latest.